Okay. Okay. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Well, hello and welcome to the Fab Life with Dad and
Hi,
Ryan.
everyone.
Hello, hello, hello.
Well, welcome back.
Yes, we're glad to be back to the recording once again.
You know, I was looking on YouTube,
Yes.
and we're starting to get a lot more viewers.
Yeah.
We have some episodes that now have over 150 views.
Yes.
So I'm really happy.
Thank you so much.
Tell everyone.
Tell everyone. And we will be this summer posting a Facebook page and all kinds of
Yes, it's
exciting
going to be
stuff.
all kinds of new things
So
happening.
keep following us.
Yes.
We will be going through the summer and the rest of the spring season.
Yes.
So let's begin with some really, really hot news that Deb and I have been talking about. Reverend Wright is back in the news.
Reverend Crazy Wright from down in Florida has now announced, even though he knows that after he burnt the Quran, he was responsible actually for the deaths of 20 UN workers in Afghanistan who were killed by the Taliban. He's now announcing he's going to burn an effigy of Mohammed. So, you know, someone has got to get him under control.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
I mean, the FBI or the police or someone.
Yeah.
Because he's not doing anyone any good at all.
No. No.
So, you know, Reverend Wright, I know you wouldn't be watching us, but, you know, I read an article that stated that it was talking about some journalist had interviewed some of the members of his church and said that he was like a dictator in church.
Interesting.
Yes, and that he was very intolerant of everything. So, Reverend Terry Wright, is that his name?
Don't know.
Oh, well, anyway, Crazy Reverend, whoever your name is, down in Florida, burning all these things. No, you are not a Christian.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're not fabulous, as we said months ago. So stop it, or get somebody, or we will get somebody to stop your activity so that our wonderful, beloved American troops in Afghanistan aren't killed needlessly because of your idiocy. Thank you.
Well stated. I think that, you know, this kind of goes back to the whole Fred Phelps. In I forget where he's based out of, but the Westboro Baptist Church and their protests at soldiers' funerals saying that it's God's way of punishing them for protecting homosexuals in America. Yeah, they can do it. It's First Amendment rights, but I think we have to sort of then apply our morals and ethics, right, Deb?
Absolutely.
I mean, and that this is taking advantage of those rights that our forefathers fought for us. This is not what they intended for us to do, is to degrade one another like this.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's just disgraceful, and it's disgraceful that he's being allowed. But see, he's sneaking around doing these things.
Yeah.
You know, he's sneaking around doing it, and so it's just horrendous.
Yeah. Well, I do believe that every dog sees their day. I stand by that.
Yes.
Another dog in the speaking is Gaddafi and Libya, and his assurance that he has beaten NATO.
Honestly, I don't know what's going on. I hear that NATO accidentally killed some of its own troops on the ground.
Yeah, right.
And then Gaddafi's claiming victory over NATO. I just don't understand this. And the so-called rebels, and we talked about that. I like to call them freedom fighters.
Yeah, I love that.
Because they're fighting for their liberties.
Yes.
And they're fighting to remove Gaddafi.
Yeah.
From ruling them and remove his family. And this has not happened yet.
Yeah.
And it seems as if we're almost conceding, well, then let's let him stay. Then what was the purpose of all of this?
So we've created civil unrest.
Yes.
For nothing.
I don't
international unrest.
Understand this. What is the strategy?
Do you think
what is the purpose? I want to know what is the plan, what is the purpose, and how are we going to meet our goals?
Yeah, and nobody can give you that.
And nobody can give us that. I get conflicting reports on the media.
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
And our government has done
there seems to be no clear-cut path, no clear-cut plan to remove him. All right.
Even from European forces that were initially in there to begin with, they're not even. Nobody will give a certain response.
Yes.
that they stand by. Do you think that possibly Gaddafi had more alliances than what we know of or what the American government knows of? You know?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, you mean Gaddafi having alliances? Of course.
Yeah.
What has come out is that he is paying the rulers of a lot of the African states.
Yeah.
He has paid them so much money in the past that they support his efforts to remain in power.
Okay.
Because he has a ton of money from his oil.
Right.
And so, he's bought off a lot of friendships. He buys his friendships. Well, that's what you do, I guess, when you have money.
When you have money.
I wouldn't know. But I still have friends, but I don't have to pay them.
But I don't pay,
Right, I don't have to pay my friends. Okay.
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, that's something to keep posted on, I guess, and maybe we'll finally find out what's going on with Libya and Gaddafi. But this certainly is going to go well into the summer. And
they're saying now that the only thing that's really going to come out of this is that gasoline is going to be $5 a gallon in the United States by Memorial Day. And some of the Europeans are saying, well, that's what we're paying, so that's what the Americans should pay. See, everybody's jealous of us. They've always been jealous of us.
Yeah.
Well, and now they're trying to stick it to us, ruin our economy, bring us down, and all I hear is, oh, this is the end of America. Let me tell you, listeners, this is not the end of America. This is just the beginning of America.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just going through a little rough patch right now.
Yeah.
But the resiliency of America and the patriotism of Americans will overcome anything.
Yeah.
So, not to worry.
I totally agree with that. I think that we as the people, because we have to remember, we as the people are the people who are in charge here. That has been our foundational principle, is that we are in control. And I think we as the people need to start paying attention. I still don't think enough of our citizens are treating these circumstances serious enough, except for they're just bitching about it. And
stop watching soap operas and idiotic comedies on television. Okay? And start getting involved in politics in your communities.
Because it is going to affect us. $5 a gallon. I can barely afford on my salary.
Well, right.
$3.89, and
you're a graduate student.
And my distance that I travel. I mean, I just cannot imagine $5 a gallon.
It's true.
It's ridiculous.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
I know. You'll have to move in with my husband and me.
In the fabulous home. In the palace.
Well, I don't know about that, but anyway, my humble home. But but America has always stood for creativity and vibrancy. And we have a respect for human beings that other cultures and other countries do not have. And that is why we have become rich and blessed.
That's right.
So, we don't want to lose this.
And this is not the only time this has happened. We have gone through rough patches in our history. If you don't know, read. And we have always overcome them. Every time people have counted us out, that's what's great, is that we always come back stronger. And
it's really interesting to me. I was reading, one of our so-called allies and friends, Saudi Arabia.
Oh, yes.
Right. They are kind of abandoning us. And they are now courting the Russians.
Yeah. Yes.
So I guess what that means, they'll stop sending their engineering students to our American universities and start sending them to engineering schools in Russia. I mean, what is the deal here? We have been so good to Saudi Arabia. We have saved Saudi Arabia on several occasions. And right? And the royal family, and we have been so good and such close friends. To abandon us now because there may be something a little rocky going on in our economy, it's going to be re-strengthened. So that's not a good, I would say, that's not a good international political move on the Saudis' part.
It's a terrible political move. I mean, Deborah, let's think about Russia. I mean, as far as economically prosperous, yes, well, Russia is prosperous. But as far as the general population, as far as universities in comparison to the United States, I don't.
I read an article that Putin recently said, we should drop a bomb between England and Europe.
I mentioned this the last on our
yes,
last episode.
What did you say?
That's true. That's what he said, because he wants to show that these Western European countries and the United States are not just leading the world. And I'm thinking to myself, what?
Well, we do lead the world, and we will continue to lead the world. What I am afraid of is that they're going to stop. I mean, this whole thing last week with the federal budget, and that they weren't going to pay our military.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Who would even think of that? But yet, those bums in Washington were going to pay themselves for doing what? For working 100 for working 100 days a year, sitting in meetings, trying to enhance their coffers. No. No. Get your priorities straight.
I had a discussion, Deborah. You know, this is what bothers me. We are so wrapped up in this country, and I think we have been for years. And that our political figures have to be these Ivy League representatives. I think we need real people who understand the average Joe. And I don't mean to sound like Sarah Palin here, but I think she has a point when she says the average American needs to be represented in Congress.
You cannot be a representative or a senator in the United States of America anymore unless you're a millionaire. And I think that's appalling.
It's appalling. It's appalling. They cannot identify with the general public. And these people have a mission. They go in there, they work some odd days out of the year, and their rhetoric goes nowhere. They talk over one another. It is defunct.
Well,
it's defunct.
As the old saying goes, the last refuge of a scoundrel is politics.
That's so true.
Need I say more?
Need you not say more?
So what's going on with Japan's nuclear?
Well, they just had another earthquake
a
while ago.
I know.
I don't know. And talk about the nuclear plants.
Well, they're coming out with reports now that are stating that the condition of some of the nuclear plants they're in graver condition than Chernobyl was.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think they're going to have no alternative but to bury them in sand and concrete and call it a day. That's what they did in Chernobyl. But
folks, if you're not aware of Chernobyl and that instance, please, you can Google it. You can Wikipedia it. Find out what we're talking about here, because this is devastating.
Well, it really is, because, there is radiation. Spilling into our oceans, spilling into the Pacific Ocean. And also radiation coming through the air. They're finding it in the milk, in the cows' milk, and the grasslands. In some of the Midwestern states and out west. So this is a grave concern.
It's a grave concern. And well, I don't know.
What else do you want to talk about?
What else do I want
to
talk about?
About America?
I want to talk
you would mention Mississippi.
I want to
tell me about Mississippi.
Well, Mississippi, there was a report that came out recently. It's been circulating around my Facebook friends and myself. We have been commenting that Mississippi, there was a study done that 69% of Mississippi Republicans believe that interracial marriage should be illegal. 69% of Mississippi Republicans believe that interracial marriage should be illegal.
Oh, yes, let's go back to the 18th century, shall we? Okay, well, that's because 69% of the Republicans are all members of the Ku Klux Klan, okay? It's one of the reasons, being a Northerner, every time I've lived south of the Mason-Dixon line, I never felt comfortable, because I never felt comfortable with their views on other races. And, now at this stage of my life, I will never cross that line. I will never cross the Mason-Dixon line and go into states like that. How can you reason with people like that?
No.
I mean, interracial marriage is everywhere.
Yeah.
And why is it just in the United States? You know, I've lived in Europe almost a third of my adult life.
Yeah.
And nobody blinks an eyelash.
No.
Okay? No. At interracial marriages or dating.
Same-sex marriages.
Nobody,
in many parts of Europe.
Nobody blinks.
Yeah.
But somehow here in America, there's a certain group of people who just can't